Excellent. Good morning. It is week 6 of 2025, which for some it has felt like the longest 6 weeks, and for others, it's flown by, and it's okay, whichever camp you're in. But it is moving fast this year. Um, if anyone has any announcements, any shout outs, anything that they'd like to share, this is a good time to do so. Kevin Vorbeck, good morning. Yes, sir.
Hey, Adelina. So two things. Number one, big shout out to Blueprint Title. They're just killing it on all of the transactions that I've done with them. We just closed one yesterday in less than 21 days, and it was extremely complicated because the buyer was using his IRA to purchase 90% of the property and his wife to purchase the other 10%. And so it was just extremely complicated, but the people at Blueprint really did a good job. In fact, the buyer reached out to me personally to thank me for using Blueprint Title to help the transaction go so smoothly. So
Wow,
awesome
fantastic.
job with them. And also just wanted to pump up my VA loan lunch and learn class this afternoon from 12 to 12:30. I will post the Zoom link in the chat, and I will also post my phone number in the chat. So if anybody wants to shoot me a text, I can send that to you. But really looking forward to it. Today we're going to go over entitlement and 3 different wealth building strategies for both veterans and active duty. So looking forward to it.
I love that. Thank you for doing that. Definitely. I love it. Awesome. Okay. Any other announcements or shout outs or anything else we need to go over this morning before we start with Miss Brittany? Okay, I trust you. I'm gonna go ahead and spotlight Brittany for all of us. Hey, Brittany. Good morning.
Good morning.
A lot of, if you've been around Place for a while, you have seen Brittany just on different things. She's not a shy person, which is wonderful for all of us. But if you're newer perhaps to Place, maybe in the last year or so, um, Brittany is awesome. She came in at the best time of real estate, which was the market crash of like 2007, really rode it out. So if any of you think the market is a little slow or kind of not great, oh man, it's a great market compared to that.
Yeah, some of
We
their
really,
commissions were the price of the houses we sold back then.
yeah,
So
terrible times, terrible times. However, Brittany made it through, which we are so grateful for. She is one of the top agents and brokers in the Georgia area. If you don't know her, she is fantastic. And she has a lot of skill building and expertise. And today she's going to talk about how curiosity can elevate our success in real estate. So I'm going to let her take over. And if you've got questions, I'm going to make sure that they are asked. So feel free to pop them into chat. Or if you are shy and you just want to message them to me, that's fine too. I'm not going to be too shy. So I'll be happy to ask. Or if you're not shy, just raise your hand and she will answer your question. Cool? All right, Brittany, it's all yours. Good
thank
morning.
you so much. And I am going to do the opposite of what I'm advising you to do today by talking a lot. Today, I'm going to go as quickly as I possibly can so that we can get through the content. So if you guys have any questions. So the number one thing that I have learned over the years is the curiosity is the absolute forefront of somebody being able to scale anything, any business, whether that be real estate or anything else that you're doing. It can be your relationships with your family. It can be your relationship with your spiritual leader. It can be any part of your life. Curiosity is going to be a huge factor in your growth and your personal development. So we're going to talk about it specifically for real estate today. And I'm going to tell you about a couple of the mistakes that you guys are making. You think you're being curious, but you're not quite being curious enough. And I'll give you some practical examples. And towards the end, we're going to do some rapid fire exercises together. So starting with everybody's favorite topic is themselves. Okay, so many of you are walking in and out of your listing and buyer consultations, and you are going, that consultation was amazing because you talked the whole time and they listened. And that's a problem. You should not be the one walking out going, this was an amazing consultation. They should be walking out. So that's the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to shift your energy to not thinking about whether you had a great consultation or not, but thinking about whether they did. And if their favorite topic is themselves and their favorite thing to do is to talk about themselves, then your job is to be an excellent, excellent, excellent question asker. And I don't care who you are on this call, you are not as good as you think you are at it, including myself and including Adelina and including all the other leaders. We could get better at asking questions, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I like to ask myself when I get out of a session of any kind, whether it's coaching or whether it's a listing or buyer consultation, or even just a phone call. I just talked to a potential customer over the phone. I want to ask myself, who did most of the talking? Was it me or was it them? And how would I rate it? Like if there were 10 minutes to that phone call, was it 50-50? That's good, but it's not usually 50-50. It's usually that we're like 70 or 80% because we're trying to throw up things on them. And then they're giving us 20%. So that's the first thing that you can do is start making notes after a call and go, huh, or a consultation. Say you go on a listing appointment yesterday or today, think back, who did all the talking? Did you do the talking or did they do the talking? And be honest with yourself. So there's a huge difference between, there's two sides of this. You're either in curiosity or you're in judgment, one or the other when you enter into these conversations. So there's some mistakes that I see people make. And that is even on a phone call, like as quickly as you are talking to somebody over the phone, maybe it's a sign call or a lead that you've just spoken to, and you are quickly doing as much research to gather as much information as you possibly can. Maybe you're even one of those people that when you call expireds or things like that, or you call in somebody in Brivity, you like to go in and search, like, okay, what are they looking at? And when did they reach out? And let me just gather more information because I'll feel more confident walking into this phone call. Guess who that's about? That's about us, right? We want to feel more comfortable walking into that call. When you do that, you're doing it by mistake. You don't mean to. I know you don't have bad hearts, but you are walking into that conversation with judgment. You're walking in with some information, interpreting it through your filter, and you're assuming what they're thinking on the other end of the line. We have to eliminate that. If you're going to be really, really great at this, you have to open up in every conversation with as much curiosity and great questions as possible. So with that, that knowing more thing will trick us, right? It really, really tricks us into thinking that like we know everything and we've got this. Bottom line is we don't.
Do you think we do that because it's like just more comfortable?
Yes.
It's to us to know what we're walking into essentially?
Yeah, I think that
Asking questions.
Lead generation is not a natural thing for nearly any of us. And it doesn't matter if it's a great day or an easy day. And it doesn't matter if it's our favorite type of leads or our least favorite type of leads. It takes some type of courage to get into a phone call and nervously walk into it and try to say the right things. You've got to stop trying to say the right things and get better at putting the other person first.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that by asking questions and being curious and showing up in that way. So if you could take any hat off and take off that security hat and safety that you're trying to walk in and you know everything, stop trying to be that person. I don't care whether you're new or you're a veteran in this business. Walk in with curiosity and you will make a huge impact on that relationship with that person. The other mistake that I see people make is they think that if they come out of a listing appointment or a buyer appointment or whatever, and there was a lot of me too. Oh, I know them. I go there. I live close to that. I knew that place. And they think if there's a lot of me tooing and I do that too, and I like that too, and I know that person too, that they built rapport. That is not rapport. Rapport is when that person on the other end of the line or sitting across from the kitchen table with you or whatever it is where you're meeting them, when they feel like they like you, they trust you, and that you can handle their real estate business. Okay, that's it. So if you go, me too, on all the other things, they might walk out of that appointment going, well, they like fishing just like I do. But I'm going to choose the person I think is going to get the job done and is listening to me. Okay, you can have a lot of me too's and not secure the deal. So in order to engage people and gain their trust, the number one thing you have to do is ask great questions. And I'm telling you, all of us could use improvement on our great questions. So how many of you, be honest, throw it in the chat, write down your list of questions and you know what you're going to ask when you walk into a listing appointment or a buyer consult? There's a couple people that maybe have like a pre-qualification list, right? And we have our standard questions, but then do we ask our deeper questions to go deeper on those things? So I'm going to talk to you about these buyers. Uncovering a buyer's true needs and desires is what we need to convert them, because right now we're in a market where motivation is there, but urgency is not. Is that fair for everybody across the board? The interest rates are high. Some areas we're getting more and more inventory, and so they have choices, and those choices are not flying off the market. So there's not a ton of, I gotta get it right now, like throw in my offer, make it happen. There's just that disappeared. Okay, so now to gain the buyer's trust and move them through into action, you can't make anybody do anything. So let's be fair there. Like, you can't make me buy something I don't want to buy. You can't make me sell something I don't want to sell. But if I have an inkling of what I want and somebody knows why I want it and helps me map it out, there's a chance if we find all of the missing pieces that I'll buy or sell whatever that item is, right? So in helping with buyers, some of the questions that you guys are asking that are wrong, they're right by the book, but they're wrong by being open-ended questions and engaging questions that allow your person on the other end of the line or the other side of the table to open up to you. These closed-ended questions that you guys are asking are things like, are you approved for a mortgage? Have you talked to a lender? When do you want to make your purchase? Right? What neighborhood do you want to live in? If I keep rattling these off and you have to give me these 1 or 2 word answers, you end up feeling like a Spanish Inquisition, or they're like being arrested and they've got a spotlight on them and you're asking them question after question. It doesn't feel good. And if you are trying to bond with somebody that A, you don't know, or B, you do know, but you really want their business and you want to really understand what's going on so that you can guide them from start to finish, we have to ask more than these superficial questions, right? These superficial ones, one of my former mentors used to call this the difference between water skiing and scuba diving. Are you asking just questions where they give you the 1 or 2 answers, or are you asking deeper questions? So I'm going to give you a couple of other ideas for questions here with buyers. Will you be paying cash or financing and leveraging the bank's money for this purchase? And then whatever they say, you expand on it. What type of loan products have you considered? What type of creative financing offers have you considered? If you do think of different loan products if I think of different loan products that may serve your needs better, would you like me to tell you about it, and when? Where do you see yourself in 5 years and when it comes to this home purchase right now? Will you still be in this home, or will you have sold it and moved on? Are you going to be a landlord and renting it out? Tell me what your dreams are. And then letting them talk. How do you see yourself spending time in this next home? I can still tell you guys the first home that my husband and I bought, I will never ever forget this conversation because I learned so much from it. Was I told the woman I needed the house with this basement, and it was for my husband so that he could play music. And she said, I can't remember exactly how she said it, but she's just said, like, you're either going to get the pretty house or you're going to get the basement. End of story. And she just shut me down. Well, guess what? I didn't build a house with her. I went and built a house with somebody else because she wasn't even listening. Tell me more about that. How long has he played? What instrument does he play? Tell me why it's important to you to have this basement. Oh my gosh, like my husband, like he's distracted by all the other things in our household. We need to have a special place for him to get away from all of us, close the door, lock the door, and have his space where he can pursue the one thing that shuts his mind down off of work. It's really important to me because he makes so many sacrifices for me. I want to make sure that he has what he needs. Now, do you see the difference between like, hey, do you want a house with a basement or you don't want one? Okay, move along, versus asking those deepening questions. Tell me more about that. Tell me why that's important. Oh, he plays music or she does this, and tell me more. How long have they been doing that? What kind of stuff? Like if they make some kind of craft, what do they make? Oh my gosh, have I heard of it? You know, asking questions to deepen that relationship. What have you experienced in your own living spaces that you absolutely do not want in this home? What have you seen in other living spaces, whether they're yours or rentals or the vacation homes that you really want to try to get if you could? Tell me about those. And then every time they give you an answer, say, tell me more about that. Right? Digging deeper. And then as I'm talking to a buyer, have you asked yourself what's the difference between your wish list and your must-haves? Can you lay them out for me and tell me why on each one? Can you see how if I'm doing a buyer consultation in this way, I may ask a question and then they're going to give a longer answer, and then I'm going to be able to go deeper if I need to. Have you ever done a real estate transaction before? That's a closed-ended question, but then you come back around. If they say yes, you go, what went well and what didn't go well? Because I don't want to mess this up for you. Asking them, guys, you're going to use some of this and you're not going to use others. The important part is you're asking questions, you're giving them a chance to talk, you're making them think about the things that they actually want and don't want out of their real estate transaction, and you're getting them to talk it all through. By the time they leave this consult with you, they're going to go, gosh, Adelina is such a good listener. She's really smart, even though they did all the talking. Right? It's not what she put out there. She's asking the great questions. I got a couple others on buyers. Let me see if any of them apply. And of course, Adelina has this list, so she can share it if y'all want it. How will you know that the realtor you interviewed is the right one to commit to? If you're interviewing against multiples, you want to start asking that. If I need to tell you something that will save you time, energy, or money and heartache, and it may be something you don't want to hear, how would you like me to communicate that to you? They're all going to say, like, I want you to tell me the truth. Like, great. So like, if you're being dumb, you want me to tell you you're being dumb, or you want me to soften it a little? Like, how do you really? And I'm a human in any one of my conversations, so I'll laugh with them and cut up with them and just be myself. But I'm gonna ask the questions and say, like, I'm gonna have to say some things that you're not gonna like. How do you want me to tell you when that happens? And then there, I got some on the fence decision making. If you already know their huge motivation and there is a house on the market, and they're not making a decision. I wrote one for you guys and I said, may I ask you a tough question, Adelina? What happens if you delay on this decision for another 6 months and the market does not get better for you? It actually gets worse. And I tell my team all the time, ask the question and shut up.
Can I ask a follow-up question to this?
Of course.
So I believe most people say they want honesty. They almost always 100% honesty.
Yeah,
I've
they
heard
say that.
that nobody wants 100% honesty. How do you deliver news that might be, not as positive, with not 100% honesty, because that's not what people actually want.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had that? Have
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, being a coach for MAPS for 6 years, I did a lot of that. Selling in markets where people were crying at the table because they were facing foreclosure. I have faced a lot of difficult conversations, a lot. The first thing that I have found um, is to ask their permission, but in a way of saying, Adelina, do you trust me? And do you believe I have your best interest at heart? Okay. Can I share something with you? And then whatever it is that I need to share. And I may be thinking in my head, stop being an idiot. I want to hit you over the head with a frying pan. I might be thinking all kinds of silly things, but I am going to, when I talk to them, I'm going to level it down. I'm going to make sure that they know it's serious. I'm going to make sure that they know, and I know, like, do you actually trust me? Do you believe that I'm on your side? So that I'm prepping for this conversation of, I have some feedback that I need to give you that's important if we want to hit your goals. We have to change blank. Gosh, guys, it could be anything from a purple painted kitchen to a price reduction, or a mean looking dog that lives at the house that's scaring away everybody, or whatever it is. It could be a buyer's indecision. It could be their crappy offers they keep writing. I mean, it could be a million things that we need to have a conversation with them around. But ultimately, if I went to the doctor and they did a test and I had cancer, I would not expect them to like soften that delivery and hide it from me. I would expect them to call me either personally and say, are you sitting down? I want to make sure you're not driving. I want to talk to you about something and it's important. And take the time to level with me and say, like, this is happening and this is the plan. I want you to come in on such and such date and we're going to go over a plan and we're going to solve this problem. But we have to make sure that they trust us, make sure that they understand it's a serious conversation, then move into, here's the problem, but I never, ever, ever present a problem without proposed solutions.
I love that. That's really, really good. Thank you so much. Because I see, I think primary area I see a lot of it in is when I go to like brevity and then I go to feedback, and we are literally telling our clients like exact feedback. And a lot of it comes across right now as a know-it-all versus I'm on your side. We're wanting to get the same thing accomplished, and it's pushing people away versus like coming from a helpful insight.
Oh, yeah. A lot of things that agents aren't used to doing in this market that you and I learned how to do a long time ago is when you guys have really serious stuff that you need to talk about, there's no reason that you can't set another appointment, go sit down with your seller. It doesn't, I mean, just one listing appointment might have gotten you the business, but if you need to sit down and re-go over the market and the feedback and a new plan, go sit down with them.
I
Show
love
it to them again and say, hey, things are off track. You guys are important to me. Your goals are important to me. I'd like to come back out, sit down, go over what's going in the market. Are you available this date or this date? Well, can you just call me with the information? No, this is important stuff. And you're selling a $500,000, $750,000, whatever, $100,000 asset. I want to make sure that we go over everything since so much has changed. I'd rather do it in person. So you just tell me which of those dates or give me another one and I'll be there. And that's where you're going to really show them like you really care enough to like almost redo the entire listing presentation, new information, asking great questions, reset, just making sure we're still on the same page. Are you still wanting to do this move? This is what you told me before. Has anything changed? You kind of do a second appointment and change things up. So same thing with sellers, with your listing appointments. You guys are now competing against a bunch of other agents that you weren't before, and some of them are producing, some of them are not. Some of them are putting signs in the yard and praying that somebody sells it. And then you guys are getting an opportunity to call expireds because of it, because they sat there overpriced for a long time. So what you guys are doing great good right now is you're saying, well, what do you want to sell your house for? And what do you want to net? And where are you moving to? Like, why are you selling? You might be asking some good questions, but great questions are things like, tell me when all is said and done, and this has gone perfect for you, tell me where you're going to be living and what that looks like for you. I want to know if I can help the whole scenario, right? The whole plan. What originally spurred the idea to move? What's important to you about that? When you think about the sale of your home, can you tell me if speed and convenience is more important to you or if netting the most amount of money is? And then once they answer, say, I'd love to know your thoughts on that topic and why, because I want to make sure that we're working from the same plan. Right? If they say, have you ever sold a home before? And if they say yes, can you tell me what went well in that process and what didn't? And if they say no, it's a good time to say, awesome, this is exciting times. Can you walk me through your hopes in this process as well as your biggest fears? When you guys are looking at comps, I guarantee you some of you are sitting in there and saying, what do you want to list this house for? And then the other half of you are going, you need to list it for this. Both are wrong. We have to ask. We show them the comps, we show them everything. And I am a big believer in the 5-5-5. I don't do CMAs. I don't know if I'm just not have enough attention for it or enough detail for it, but I do Ben's 5-5-5. And we look at them and we pull up the actives and I say, if you were a buyer right now in today's market looking for a home like yours, but yours is not on the market, we have these options, and whether it's 3, 2, or 8, doesn't matter. We're going to give them the options. We say, which one of these homes do you think you would choose, assuming that you had to make a decision just from either the MLS sheets or if we're pulling them up for them on a computer. And then when they pick a house, you go, you know what? I completely agree with you. It's a great house at a great price. Now, what do you believe that we need to do first in order to make sure your house is competing with condition and marketing? And then you go into price, knowing that we need to compete not just in condition, but also in price. Where do you think we should be priced if we know that this house that you just picked is our current competition for the next qualified buyer? And then you shut up. And then some smart butts will go, well, that's why I called you out here. I want to know what you think. I'm like, I know what I think. I got 20 years of experience in this. I want to make sure that you know how I got there. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And then I did one for sellers. You can have all of these. When I'm doing my job well, sometimes I'm going to be saying things that clients don't want to hear, like staging instructions or changes they need to make to the house, money that they may not want to spend, or giving feedback from showings that may not be rosy. How would you like for me to communicate those things to you that I think may not feel good in the moment, but are important for you to know? And I think I'm running out of time, Adelina. So,
I absolutely love this. I'd love to we're gonna have Brittany back because number one, you guys were very chatty, which is really good because it means that you were engaged. I think we'll pick it up more with sellers if whenever Brittany's available again, some negotiating, and then just open it up for questions because
absolutely.
You guys are very engaged in this topic. I'm definitely seeing lots of yes pleases come across privately and publicly. Brittany, you are amazing. I'm so glad that we are all now in the same company. Brittany, will you pop your contact information in so that everyone knows how to get in touch with you, how to send referrals your way? And yeah, that would be a great place to land us today, and then we'll pick it back up. Does that sound fair for everybody?
Yes, and I don't know if we have a new team number.
Oh, LOL. That's okay.
I'll have to send it to you because we just switched everything over to Brittany phone line, so I don't want to mess up and give the wrong number.
That's okay. We will figure this out and we'll put it in the email. How about
Okay,
that?
thank you. My only tip to you guys today is if you have calls today, or if you have an appointment today, you have a call scheduled with somebody, go ahead and write down 5 or 10 open-ended questions and just do your best, because the only way you're going to get better at it is to start practicing. And my last mentor said, if you want to get better, you write 10 a day. And she made me do it for 6 years. And I did it and I got better and better and better. But you can get out of practice
Absolutely.
and slip by accident too. So
Yeah, it's none of it is intentional, guys, right? But this is why, like, it's never things we need to actually learn, it's things we need to relearn, right? I love that. Brittany, you're awesome. We'll see you the next time you're available. And everybody, Texas and beyond, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye-bye.